Welcome to Down Earth Astrology and Primal Girl Wellness. I am Miss Jenny, and I am your astrologer. So, friends, gather around. Just this is gonna be a really fast video. So, I just heard the announcements. I've been distracted. We've got a lot going on these days. A lot going on these days. It's like we're in some type of competition for the ridiculous Olympics. But I did hear mention that the documentary, the Netflix docuseries for Harry and Meghan is coming out in the next 2 days, around something with obviously some other, like on the heels of some other royal function, because she's very good at stealing other people's thunder. Um, but what made me think of this and do this video is it reminded me that they're doing this under this particular full moon. Now, we don't know because we don't know what's in her head. We clearly don't hang out with her, but I would bet you good money she believes in astrology and she listens to this stuff. Or her minions, her little personal assistants and stuff are listening for her, scanning the environment for news. And that is what that whole hullabaloo about, oh no, we were actually married before we were married. Like, oh come on, girl, please. So she is a believer in astrology. She is a believer in astrology, and she's paying attention. Because they give themselves away each and every time. So in any event, they're releasing this Netflix docuseries underneath this full moon. I'm not completely convinced that somebody either at Netflix or on her team did this deliberately. They chose this date, right? And typically, when you want something to have a lot of attention, you do it under a full moon, right? Um, which makes sense. But this particular full moon, ooh, this particular full moon. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, I don't know. So, okay, how's this gonna land? Like they're throwing it at the wall to see if it sticks, but how's it gonna land? Right? Now, for people who are not on Team Harry and Meghan, like, Meghan is the ultra villain. And, she's not helping her case any. Every step of the way, she's not helping her case any. So, of course, the assumption is for people who don't like her and for people who just don't know her, and we don't really have a lot of opinions one way or the other. It's just assumed that this docuseries is going to land badly and be damaging to Meghan, or more damaging to Meghan, as if that were even possible at this point. Um, and Harry, would be like neutral, or maybe like a little bit, a little bit of splash of dirty water from this, but like nothing huge, right? Like, this is kind of the assumption about how it's going out because we don't know what's in it. We know it's gonna be a lot of whining, and ugh, right? Anyway, so for those of you who are Team Meghan and Harry, I'm gonna apologize in advance. I mean, I don't I don't have as much generous, charitable leniency in terms of looking with one eye closed at these two that everybody else does. People are people, and we all have to go through our process. And he clearly chose this woman because she was a necessary and instrumental part of his development. And these two are very well matched. These two are very well matched. He's got heavy Moon Saturn uh, activity in his natal chart, so he's attracted to, or well, cold women, right? Calculating women, which, in a different description would be women who have their act together, agenda and goal-driven women who get things done. So just so you know, Moon Saturn is not always a bad thing. It just depends on how it plays out. And of course, she has a Moon Saturn conjunction, so she is very much always, the woman with a plan. Anyway, so so I looked at the full moon chart and I looked up their charts. I'm like, how is this gonna play out? Right? Well, my dears. Oh, Harry, what have you done to yourself? He's gonna get crucified for this. I don't, and I will not support Netflix and this docuseries. I just don't like this. I just don't like any of this business with the throwing the royal family under the bus and telling other people's secrets. Like, I'm not, you weren't molested as a kid. This is not something you need to, like, be this vicious to your family about. I'm just saying. But So I won't support Netflix, even though I really, really, really want to watch this docuseries now because I really want to know what's in it. And the reason I say that is because whatever is in it, Harry is going to get crucified. If this literally, if this doesn't completely and formally end his relationship with his father, well, the man who has been acting as his father all his life, and also his financial support moving in the future from his family and his father. I don't know what could possibly do it other than physical death, because he's really just he's this literally, wow, he's gonna get crucified for this. Oh my God, this is gonna be so bad, so bad. So, and I thought it was gonna be spring when this hit, but again, too, I was looking at the wedding chart for these two for some major action happening come spring. So maybe this is, the first footfall, and the next one comes in spring, and it's the marriage that gets the second foot. Now, so I looked at, because we have to be good about these things. I looked at their wedding chart, and I looked at Megan's chart, and I'm not seeing it. I mean, there is some pushback or splash from this, but I mean, Megan's going to get what Megan has typically gotten all along, which is going to be lots of accusations about her playing victim and lying, um, and just really cashing in on the, damsel in distress sort of thing. What's interesting, and this is disturbing. It actually looks like Megan's going to benefit from this docuseries. She may actually find herself in a position. I know nobody wants to hear this, right? To get more pats on the back, more accolades, more celebration, and elevation in status, and possibly even more dosh or money, like some money making deals out of this. So lots of support, lots of celebration, lots of applause for her, while Harry gets crucified like a sacrificial lamb on an altar. Oh my God, Harry's going straight to hell in roller skates because of this. Meanwhile, she's going to be the toast of the town, right? So, right, exactly. So now, of course, I also am going, what the hell is in that documentary? So, and of course, I looked at the wedding charts. I'm like, okay, well, how is this affecting the wedding? And it's the same thing with the wedding. We're not seeing a lot of problems or impact on the wedding itself. Um, Let me pull up the wedding chart. The same thing. It's the whole Schadenfreude, like, everybody's pretending to be more hurt than they actually are. Um, there's just not a lot here, that's not already been said as far as the wedding or the marriage goes. So the marriage won't be hit too badly by it, but literally it's a very distinct, right? It's a very distinct separation in how this plays out. So the marriage, or Harry and Meghan as a couple, will not necessarily get a lot of damage from this. They also won't get a lot of benefit as a couple. Meghan, on the other hand, appears to be coming out of this like a winner, right? Like a trophy carrying winner, celebrations and applause and lots of, elevation and status and, lots of, you go girls kind of thing. At the same time, Harry's going to get crucified like, a Catholic priest getting caught with, the choir boy. Like it's bad for Harry, really bad for Harry. Um, Irrevocably, you cannot undo this damage bad. So that's why I'm like, what on earth's in this documentary? And the thing about it is separate from that. I do have concerns about that because we know Harry's not been in a good way. It's very visible that he's not in a good way. And there's no way I don't think that anybody who is a normal, sane human being could be in reasonably good mental health considering everything that's happened, in the last year. This has been an extremely devastating time for him. He's moved to another country with a completely foreign culture, at the same time having, major separation from his family, emotionally and physically. And we know how important family and roots are for him. So literally being caught or torn between his new family that he's just made and his biological family that he's grown up with and his roots, right? The place where he's come from, literally being split in two between those two things. And then losing his grandmother, and not having been able to see her before she passed, like on top of, everything else, and probably dealing with a whole lot of financial stress, and suddenly realizing that when you're not royalty and you were never actually raised to be useful, there's not a lot you can do that has any financial value to other people except offer them your name, and your status as legitimacy. And Hollywood is full of opportunistic mercenary people. So, California, the whole joke about California, right? So in New York, people in New York tell you to go screw yourself. Yo, go screw yourself, buddy, right? You know how they say go screw yourself in California? Have a nice day. So that's the kind of culture he's in out in Hollywood and California. It's not great. It's just not great. So I can't even imagine the sycophants he's surrounded by. So, let's see what happens. I don't, this is not good. This is not good for him. Great for her, bad for him. And as far as the marriage goes, it's completely neutral. There's nothing really happening as far as its impact on the marriage. That will come in March, like February, March. All right. Now, remember we talked about the planet Icarus, and we were saying how the planet Icarus is very prominent, right? So the planet Icarus, as we speak, is in the late degrees of Capricorn. It's at 23 Capricorn right now, as this docu-series is coming out. Now, this planet Icarus, which is all about hubris and arrogance and falling from grace because you overreached and forgot yourself. In the wedding chart is opposing their moon. And it's because they've got a moon Pluto opposition in their wedding chart. So the marriage, as we're doing this, separate from the docuseries, the marriage is getting hit by this asteroid Icarus. So there's a whole lot of flying way too high ambitions that are far exceeding what's safe or acceptable, right? Oh, oh my, oh my. So this may finish playing out come spring, and this may be part of it. With Meghan, it doesn't really show up. There's not a lot here. I mean, she's got this child. She has Pluto squaring that Icarus. Uh, but it's coming out of her seventh house. Her husband, her primary partner, is taking the brunt of this. So her husband's taking the beating for this Icarus and any missteps that Icarus represents. And see, and I don't understand how this plays out because I can't imagine what Harry's done. What could Harry possibly have done? Because he doesn't do anything that would be, excess ambition and that sort of stuff. And it doesn't hit his chart really at all. I mean, it doesn't make any significant context in his chart. Um, so maybe she's pushing him to do things that are well above and beyond what he should be attempting to do. She may be the wind underneath his sails, sending him right up to the sun to have those wings melt and have him come crashing to the ground. And I'm saying this astrologically. I'm not saying this because of any personal bias. Although, given what we've seen displayed for a while now, it's not unthinkable that this is what's happening. So that's it. That's the thing. This full moon is interesting time for them to release this docuseries, and it literally spells the end of Harry on a lot of ways. It's a really painful, humiliating crucifixion waiting for him at the end of this docuseries release, while she is going to be held up and celebrated as a victor and a champion and all sorts of stuff, which is really weird. I don't know how that would work, right? So I will not be watching. I don't have a Netflix membership. So I won't be watching the docuseries. But if you have a Netflix membership and you watch the docuseries, please feel free to put your comments in the comment section below while we're all following along and obviously reading the reviews with the docuseries because we know that's going to be all over the news. All right, let's see how it goes. Oh, and remember, if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, share, and we'll talk to you guys soon.